Hello everyone and welcome to another supplementary video. My name is Kasanas. Guys, in the last few videos, we have been learning Unity's UI system. Today, we're going to put that learning to practical use and create a working UI. All right, let's get started. Okay guys, in today's video, what we're going to do is create a really kind of simple health bar that's going to demonstrate a player's health every time the player presses the attack button. It's going to adjust this image and it's going to update this text up here to indicate the player's current health. Let's take a look at what we already have in place. I have two images. I have this damaged player image and a current health image. I also have the player health text up here and the attack button. Right now, nothing actually does anything at all. But let's take a look at what I want to happen. If I take a look, if I come over here and I turn off this player health image, I turn this off, so we're seeing the player damage. And this is something that's really important. Actually, I don't think I mentioned this in the other videos. This is something that's really important. The order in which your UI elements are rendered goes from the top to the bottom. So the damaged player image is on the bottom, and the current health image is on top. You can see that right now, current health image is being rendered on top of a damaged player image. Let me just turn off current health image for now. And we can see that our damaged player, this damaged player image, is the same as the one in front, as the current healthy image. The only difference is I've tinted it red. Additionally, this image is a simple type, so it doesn't really change. It's just sitting there in place. The current health image, let me turn this back on so you can see. The current health image is a filled image, filling vertically from the bottom up. Okay, so let's take a look at what happens whenever I take damage. I want the player's health to go down, 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 so we can see the red kind of showing whenever the player is dead. Boom, it goes all the way to red. This value, the fill amount, is equal to 0. Whenever our player is perfectly healthy, they will have a fill amount equal to 1. What I'd like to do is be able to set a maximum health for my player. I'd like to update this text with the maximum health. And then every time I press this button, this is going to take damage, and we're going to update with our current health value. So we're seeing both graphically and textually exactly what is happening to our player as they take damage. All right, there's nothing in place right now. We're going to go through and we're going to start writing our code. Okay, to start off with, I'm just going to add a script to this image right here in order to be able to update my text. I want to be able to set a maximum health inside of this image, and I want it to be able to update this text. So let's start off by clicking on the image. So we're using the current image. I'm going to scrub down until I find add component. I'm going to say add component. I'm going to find new script, and I'm going to add a new script. Let's call this let's call it our player health. You might want to call it player health system or something else. People call it player health system just to make sure that it's really evident what it does. And I'm going to create and add this to this image. All right, and after I've got it, takes a couple seconds here. I'm going to head over to my assets. I'm going to move it out of here. I'm going to move it directly to my scripts folder. There we go. It's now in my scripts folder. Well, almost. It's now in my scripts folder. It's over here. And now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to double click on my player health system to open it up. Okay, now that it's open, we can go ahead and we can start to add some things that we're going to require. In order to be able to access our UI, in order to have any references at all to any of the UI elements, we're going to have to add a line that says using Unity engine dot, and we need UI. Okay, adding this line means now we can reference any of the elements that are located or assets that are located within our UI library. Because we're actually using TMP Pro as well, we're going to have to add in here TMP Pro. Now this gives us access to any of our TextMesh Pro assets as well, so we can reference that at this point in time. Okay, we're going to want to do a couple of things here. The first thing we're going to want to do is we want to be able to set a maximum value for our player's health so we know what we're subtracting. For now, we'll just say, we'll say int, and we will call this, you might want to make this public, but I'm just going to call it int for now, and I'm going to call this our max health. Max health. All right, and for now, we're just going to set it equal to 100. It doesn't really matter what we're setting it to. We're just going to use this to subtract values. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to have a reference to our Text Mesh Pro text. If we can, if we have a reference to it, that means we can update its text value. So let's make a public reference to our TMP underscore text. Yes, this is how you do it. I remember now. Our TMP text underscore text. And we'll just call this thing here our player health. Okay, we'll just call it that. Okay, so now we actually have reference to our player health, and we have an amount of health. Inside of our start function, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to say our player health dot text is going to be equal to, and not an empty string, is going to be equal to, and we're going to set it to the value of our max health. Now, I'm pretty sure that it would just take this integer and automatically convert it, but you can see that I've already got a suggestion that I convert it to a string. So utilizing this toString will take any value and convert the whatever it was, so in this case it was an integer, convert it to a string, and therefore we can actually update our text. So let's just file save this for now. I'm just going to save this, and let's check and see if this is going to work. So I'm going to close this off. All right, we loaded this onto our current health image. Let's scrub down and take a look. So right here, we've got ourselves the script, and it's looking for a TMP text, which we can grab from right here, our player text. I'm just going to grab this, I'm going to drag it over, and I'm going to drop it in place. Now what we've got is a reference to this text right here. If I hit play, and we'll just leave this, we won't maximize this, we'll play focused for now. If I hit play, we're expecting to see this have a value of 100 because that's what we set our current health equal to. So here we go, play, and boom, right away we can see that we were able to set this to a value of 100. That's great. So if we take a look again at our player health system right here, accessing anything within that Text Mesh Pro is very, very simple. All we need is a reference to it, and then we can go ahead and reset that value. Okay, that's perfect for now. The next thing we want to do is set it up so that whenever we hit a button, whenever we hit that button we made, we're going to take damage. There are a number of different ways to do this, and setting it up is going to really be up to you in order for you to stay organized. But I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible. Let's head back into Unity for a second and we'll take a look at our button, our attack button. If we scrub down on our attack button, like we saw in the previous videos, we have this event system and we have a default on click. In order to add something to this on click, I'm going to hit this plus sign right here. So every time the click action occurs, it's going to do something. It's going to actually go in, it's going to find an object, and it's going to look for a public function located on that object. So this is where we run into some difficulties. We really have to decide now how we want to set this up. If you wanted to have this attack button be something you used over and over again, you'd write a more complicated function that went in and looked for the thing that you were searching for. You might do a bunch of different things. We have a couple of choices. If we wanted to create an actual health system, I think that the health system should be on the player and not be associated with anything else. So really, I want to add any kind of like add damage or anything like that to my player. That's where I want to add it. I want to add it on my player asset. I don't want to add it to this attack button. So what I want to do is I want to create a public function located on my current health where we currently have our health system. I want to add a public function to that health system that the button, every single time that the player presses the button, it'll go in, find that function, and it'll run that function. Okay, so let's take a look at how that might work. I'm going to go back to my current health image right here, and I'm going to reopen, oops, not that, I'm going to reopen my player health system. And what I'm going to do right below my update, which I'm not even going to use, so I'm just going to actually remove my update because I'm not going to use this at all anyway. So let's just remove this. We don't need it. I'm going to, right here below my start, I'm going to create a public void function that I'm going to call add damage. And I have a couple of choices here. I can either have the damage kind of be added by the player, so the player is going to determine how much damage it's doing. I could have a value that comes in here and say add this much damage to the player. We'll try it both ways. I'm just going to show you how one way works first of all, and then we'll go in and we'll try it the other way as well. So inside of this add damage, what we're going to do is we're going to set it up so that every time the player takes damage, it's going to come in here. It's going to subtract from our maximum health. So we're going to need something else in here to actually track our current health. So I'm going to create in here an int, and I'm going to say current health. That way, I never touch my maximum health. We can always go back to our max health. If we wanted to add additional health to our player or whatever, we can do that. So let's go in here. And you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to set up two buttons. I've got an attack. We're going to set up a second button when we're done here that actually adds health instead of readjusting our add damage. Okay, I'm going to set our current health equal to nothing for now. And then inside of our start function, I'm going to come right inside here, and I'm going to say that our current health, actually I'm going to do this above this max health location. I'm going to say our current health, our current health, oh come on, our current health is equal to our max health. Okay, I'm going to set that up here, and I'm going to change this value here. Instead of saying max health like we previously did, I'm going to say our current health. Okay, so all that happens when I come in here in my start, I've got my current health, it sets it equal to the maximum health, and then it goes through and it's still just going to set my text to the current health value. Inside of our add damage now, I want to apply some kind of damage to our player. Let's try this. Why don't we try adding? So we're going back and looking at some things that my students have already done. We're going to use a random dot range to determine amount of damage that we actually do to our player. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to go up here and do it just so I can use it later on. I'm going to say int damage, and I'm just going to set it equal to 0 for now. Okay, there we go. Down here inside of this add damage function, I'm going to set a value for damage, and I'm going to set damage equal to, using the random dot range. All right, dot range. And what this allows me to do is generate a random value from 0, this is an integer, from 0 to my maximum health. That's too much. I don't want to kill my player in one hit. Let's leave it. Maybe I'll die right away. Okay, but instead of dealing 0, I want to deal a minimum of 1 damage. So I'm going to deal anywhere from 1 all the way up to a value of our maximum health. So we could actually one-shot this player. Okay, now that we've set up this damage, what we want to do is we want to subtract our damage from our current health. So we're going to say our current health is equal to our current health minus our damage. Okay, there we go. What this is going to do is go in, subtract from our current health, subtract our damage from our current health, and now our current health has a new value. What we want to do now is reset our current health. Okay, we're going to reset our player text health. All right, so let's grab this one more time. We're going to copy this. And if you were doing this, this is fine to do it in here, but if you really wanted to, if there's a bunch of different things you were updating and doing that different stuff, you might actually want to add this as a different kind of function. Okay, let's just test this for now. It's not going to actually do anything yet. File, save. I'm going to save all. I actually want to call this add damage, this public add damage function, and I want it to run every time I hit the button. Okay, so let's minimize this. Let's head back to our attack button, and let's scrub down. Why didn't it, did I save that? I didn't kick in here and say, you saved. Let's grab this up again. Make sure that I save this. File, save all. All right, it seems to like it. Okay, we're going to go back to our attack button. And inside of our attack button, what we're going to do is we are going to go down to our on click, and we are going to drag our current health image onto our object. And then from here, we're now able to choose a function that we want to actually run. You can see that I have a number of public functions that are available to me. So all of these are available through the actual fact that this is actually an image. But what I'm interested in is the one that I created. Here's my player health system. I want to scrub down until I find the add damage, which is right here. And I'm going to add it in. Okay, let's file save this whole thing. And now let's hit play. We're up and running. We've set everything to 100. Every time I press this attack button, it's going to make the call to that add damage. It's going to check for a random value, and it's going to subtract it and update this. So attack, There we go. So we took 24 damage. Attack. There we go. We took a whole bunch of damage there. So we can see how easy it is for us to update our text. Super, super simple. Now that was only part of what we wanted to do. We also wanted to go through and show graphically by adjusting the image how much damage we took. Okay, so let's take a look at how we do that. Let's go over to our current health image. Let's reopen our player health system. And right here, we're going to need to add a couple more things. First of all, we're going to need, just like we needed a reference to our Text Mesh Pro. I hate saying that. We're going to need a public reference to our image. So let's start typing image in here. And we are going to name this image. Let's call it our current health image. Okay, so this is going to give us a reference to our current health image. What we want to do, first of all, inside of Start, is we're going to want to make sure that our current health image fill amount is set to a value of 1. Remember, with a fill amount, 1 means that it's totally filled, so that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that that front image is completely visible. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to set our current health image dot fill amount equal to a value of 1. Okay, great. So right now we're setting it to a value of 1, therefore it's going to be completely filled. The other thing we want to do is down here inside of our add damage function, we want to adjust the value of our fill amount as well so that we're showing the amount of damage we've taken. Now, I've done a couple of things here, and I probably could have done this differently. At the top, I declared my max health and my current health as integers and my damage as integers. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I should have done this floats. It doesn't really matter. I'll show you something else. What we're going to do instead is, because our fill amount is a value between 0 and 1, it's a floating point number, we need to be able to convert the values we calculate into floating point numbers. Otherwise, this is going to say it doesn't work. So let's go ahead here, and we're going to say our current health image dot our fill amount. And if I said equals percentage of damage, so basically if I said current health divided by max health, and I left it like this is actually going to give me an error. It's going to say, no, 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 you can't do this because remember, current health and max health are integers, and this is going to evaluate to a value of 0. So it's not going to say you can't do it. It's just going to keep setting our fill amount equal to 0. No matter how much damage we take, our fill amount is going to be set to 0. So we need to cast this. Let's just do it this way. This is a quick and dirty way. I should have been smarter about how I did this. Let's just cast these as floats. And now when we do this, our current health divided by our float of our max health is going to give a floating point value. It's going to give us a percentage that's between a value of 0 and 1. So let's file save this. All right, let's just save this whole thing and let's close it off. Okay. All right, so the only thing I have to do now, if I hit play right now, watch what happens. This is something that a lot of people do, so I'm going to mention this actually. If I scrub down, to our health system right here, you can see that it was looking for a current health image. All right, I created that public call, that public reference inside of my script. If I forget to actually fill this in, and a lot of people forget this. If you're finding an error in yours, this might be what it is. I'm going to hit play and watch what's going to happen. It's going to say, whoa, 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 something went wrong here. If I go to my console, it says here, object reference doesn't have this actual reference inside. Okay, let's stop this. Let's go back to our current health. Let's scrub down until we find it. And what we want to do is drag our current health image directly in there. Now we actually have that reference. We can clear this and we can hit play. Okay, no errors at all this time. Great. We've set our value equal to 100. I'm going to do an attack. Boom. I've actually taken 5 damage. You can barely see it there. Let's attack a few more times. So I'm going to attack again. Boom. I took a lot of damage that time. And you can see how my image is being affected. If I get attacked one more time, boom, I'm now dead. I'm up to -2 health, and I have a completely red image. Let's do it one more time because we had some big chunks in there. Let's hit play one more time. Hopefully we get little increments here. All right, I'm going to attack. Boom, I took 50%, and you can see right away how that's going down. Okay, that's great. This gives us a really good visual indicator, both the numerical value as well as the image itself, indicating to our player how much damage they've taken. They can look over right away and say, okay, I'm at, this much health, or if they're just glancing over really quickly, if this is a highly frenetic game and there's a lot of action going on, they can glance over really quickly, not even care about this value, see this image and say, whoa, I'm half dead. That'll help them make choices later on, and giving your players enough information to make choices in your game is extremely important. Okay, let's stop this and let's add one more thing to this. Why don't we set this up? Because I want to explore one last thing. Why don't we set this up so that we are adding, I'm going to add another button, and we are going to then add health back. Whenever we take damage, let's add health back. What I want to explore is the ability to call something in our event, call something that has a parameter associated with it. Right now, we're just simply calling something on our image, and it is applying that damage. What I want to do is set it up so that every time we press a button, we're going to have 10 health that we get back. Let's say. Let's do that. I'm going to go up to my game right now. I'm going to go to my UI. I'm going to add a brand new button. A button right there. Let's just move this physically, put it to 0 so it's kind of aligned, and let's just drag it down. I'm not being too fussy about this, and this is going to be our, we'll call this our health button. So let's just change the name of this. I called the other one attack button. This one here will be our health button. You want to kind of have a decent something you can remember as far as your naming convention is concerned. So this is my health button. Let's go in and change our text right away. So instead of saying button, it says I don't know, health. Let's say it says health. Perfect. Okay, let's reopen our code, and we'll start right there. We'll start by adding in the code. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to reopen our health system right here, and we're going to start off by adding ourselves a brand new public function. All right, so right here I'm going to say public. And this time I'm going to say it's still a void. I'm not going to actually have it return anything. I'm going to say, and instead of adding damage, I'm going to say add health. We could have done all this in one, but it doesn't matter. And I'm going to have my add health function take in an integer value. All right, so it's going to take in this int health, and then I'm going to add in my braces. So basically what I want to do is I want to add my current health is equal to our current health plus our health. So I can simply say in a short form, so we can explore this as well, plus equals health. All right, this is a short form that just says current health equals current health plus health. Okay, so I've reset that value. I now want to do a couple of things. I want to go through and I want to reset my text. Okay, so I'm going to control copy this, and I'm going to plant it here. And I also want to reset my image. So I'm going to do this one more time. Once I'm doing this multiple times, see how I've called, oops, I did something wrong. I did something wrong there. Let's put it there. I don't know what this is. Error lists. Close this off. Close that off. Okay. I shouldn't have closed the whole thing off, but I did. I've made 3 of these videos today, and it's a little bit much. Okay, so what I'm going to do, guys, is whenever I have something like this that I'm doing this over and over and over again, I keep resetting my string here. I keep setting my player health text. I keep redoing this. That should probably be its own function. So I should have created a function, a void function that I might call set health values. And I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to do that. All right, and I would then put all this kind of stuff in there. So I just grab this whole thing, grab both of these, copy it, and dump it in here. And instead of doing it here, what I would do is instead of calling this, I should call set health. So I'm going to remove all this, remove all that, remove all this, remove all this, and remove these two. And in each of these, I'm going to call set health heath values. I'll leave it. I'm being really lazy now. Set heath values. All right, tab. All right. I'm going to change it. Set health because it's going to bother me. Set health values. Set health values. All right. So I'm going to grab this. I'm just going to copy it. Control copy. And there we go. Oh, I didn't do it right. Copy. Plop it down here. And plop it down here as well. Okay, so I've gone through and I've set that. Let's just verify this works without actually doing any of our add health or anything like that. Let's just make sure this works. So I'm going to save all because I've made some changes in here. Let's save all. It's going to do what we want to do. Set our health, add our health there. All right, let's come in here and without actually setting up this health button, let's just make sure this is going to work. I'm going to clear this. I'm going to hit play and we'll do an attack. So as long as we're still seeing our values, boom, it's still working. I can keep attacking. All right, great. Okay, let's go ahead now and set up our health option. Okay, I'm going to click on my health button. I'm going to scrub down to my health button and I'm going to find this on click event. And once again, I'm going to hit the plus sign to add a brand new event. I'm going to drag my current health image in and I'm going to drop it here. Now I'm going to look inside of my function. Boom. I have a couple of choices again, all these choices, but I'm interested in the player health system. Now, we have a couple of things we have to look for. We had the add damage. We don't want to add that one. And we have this add health int. Okay, that's the one we're interested in. So I'm going to click on add health int. And you can see now it's opened up this brand new extra window and saying, what is the value you're sending in? So let's say I want to send in a value of 10. Let's pretend I have health potions, and every time I drink this health potion, it's going to give me 10 of my health back. All right, I'm going to file and save this, and then I'm going to hit play, and we're going to check it out. Okay, we're going to attack. Boom, we've done 51 damage. If I click this health button, boom, I gain back 10 to go to 59. I'm going to drink another potion. Drink, 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 drink. Attack, boom. Oh, drink, 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 drink. So it's working perfectly. All right, guys. Today I showed you a couple of different things, and this is really important. We set up our buttons to either take no parameters when they call a function, or they are taking a single parameter. You have a couple of choices of what you can send in. I believe you can send in an integer, a float, as far as parameters are concerned, an integer, a float, a bool, or a string. I think that's all the things you're allowed to send in as far as those parameters are concerned. All right, but we set it up. It was really easy. All we had to do is go into, oh, let's go over here, take a look before I shut this down. Go into our player health. All we had to do is go through and set up our references to the appropriate images and the appropriate text, so text and image it. And all we had to do after that is go through and utilize the function calls that allowed us to access the variables we were interested in. All right, pretty straightforward and pretty easy to do. That's it today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know down below with a thumbs up. If you didn't, a thumbs down is perfectly fine. I'm doing this for my students. I'm hoping that they are getting a lot out of it. They better be watching these videos. And I hope you guys out there who are not in my class are watching these videos and getting something out of it too. All right, everyone? Thumbs up, thumbs down, comments down below. And if you haven't done so, please take a few seconds to subscribe. Have yourselves a wonderful day, everyone.